going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carton Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
Doing business on a Tuesday morning right here on the SportsGrid Network. It's how we get down. It's the early line, 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. each and every Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, getting you the information you need. So when you hover around that water cooler, you talk to the fellas over there, you talk to the ladies, you're going to be in the know, Joe, because our job is not only what happened last night, but to get you prepared for the rest of your SportsGrid day. And we did a great job in hour number one. Just got done talking about great games in Madison Square Garden tonight in college basketball. You can sink your teeth into these games, but also understanding this. Looking forward here, the NBA, a lot of guys banged up and injured. The NFL, we're getting late in the season, the haves and the have-nots. The Monday Night Football game last night, and are the Dallas Cowboys alive with a big game this weekend against the Philadelphia Eagles? I love it, Joe. It's how we get down. It's how we do business. It's right here, and it's right now.
Beautiful time of year, Donnie.
Yeah.
Turkey Day right around the corner. Of course, the holiday lights and everything else will be going up. And, ton of football, ton of college basketball, NBA in full effect. It is truly a beautiful time of year.
Yeah, turkey time coming up now. I mean, Thanksgiving is next Thursday. Then it's the Christmas season. And then, Joe, we all get upset because the football season's winding down. So enjoy. The case in point, PSA, enjoy yourself right now. Doesn't get any better than what's taking place right now. Unless we get to the early lineup and you talk about quarterback situations like Michael Penix Jr. The guy was wonderful in college, but the question always comes up, man, can those knees hang in there? You get a game this past weekend, which you lose to the Carolina Panthers, and you lose your starting quarterback. And not a banged-up injury like, hey, we'll reevaluate the guy in 1 or 2 weeks. This looks like it's a serious injury dealing with the ACL. Tough season there for Penix in Atlanta, and also more of a clouded future now, right?
And I don't understand why they just didn't say, all right, he's done for the rest of the season. Like, they're acting as if there's we'll put him on injured reserve, and that will miss at least the next 4 games. But, I mean, what are you doing? Like, we all know where this is going. Over. I mean, he's not coming back in 4 weeks because your season's going to be over, and there's absolutely no reason to even consider it. So the big question again, though, is, all right, now Kirk Cousins has got the ship the rest of the way through. And what happens here? Now what happens if Kirk Cousins all of a sudden turns this franchise around and they start winning games? I mean, this whole thing could be total chaos in Atlanta over the next 4 weeks. Absolutely must-watch TV.
It does. And also, like Drake London, probably not going to be a part of that game, at least next week either. So it feels like it's the Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier show. And also, if you're saying, well, Michael Penix was 13 of 16 for $175 before he went down. Well, what did Cousins do? 6 of 14, 48 yards, passer rating 52, QBR 29.9. Father time, man, as we were all talking about JY, it's undefeated, man. I don't think Kirk Cousins, without any weapons, is going to do any damage moving forward for a 3-7 Falcons team that just can't stop losing. And now they're going on the road to another dome and saying, okay, they should be able to win against New Orleans. Yeah, if they had their players, they probably should. Tough seeing if Atlanta loses another game. You might be looking at Raheem Morris as a coach that will be looking for a job. Justin Fields, he's looking for a job. He's getting paid handsomely to not be the quarterback now of the New York Jets. They had to make this move because sometimes you say, you just start Justin Fields and tank the rest of the season, but you still have to operate an offense. So the offensive line and the tight ends and the wide receivers and the running backs still get their work in. It was apparent that wasn't happening under Fields. Now they go to Tyrod Taylor. Welcome to the scene as a 2-touchdown underdog this week against Baltimore.
Well, I'm kind of shocked that, Aaron Glenn made this decision so early in the week because, Donnie, usually he doesn't want to give the other team, a competitive edge, right? Doesn't want them to know exactly what. So I'm kind of shocked that they have gone ahead and made this announcement as early as they did, like it's going to matter one way or the other. But, I mean, listen, if you're the Jets offense, right, your Jets offensive lineman, anybody, like, you can't keep rolling a guy out there that you're wondering if he'll get more than 50 yards passing. Like, I mean, you're going to lose the entire locker room, and it's not going to be good the rest of the way. So I think it had to be done is what I think.
It did, because you're right about a coach that thinks he's going to be there for the next couple of years. You got to set the foundation where the players can trust you and you're putting them in the best interest, because as much as we as fans, like I know you're a Jets fan, I'm not a Jets fan, but it's the same across the league. You want them to lose and you want to be as bad as possible. But when you're working for the Jets as a player, you still got to come to work with the opportunity to say, like, hey, coach is putting us in the best position to win, or at least apparently here, where we can put in a good game plan. There is no game plan with Justin Fields. It's like, well, dude's going to throw for 70 yards when everybody else throws for 250 plus. How can you run this offense and sort of keep morale up in the locker room? You had to make this decision, and they did. Jamar Chase, the decision was made for him, well, partly by himself. Spitting on another football player on a football field at midfield, which then induces a punch to your head, you're going to be suspended, and you're going to be fined a game check. Over $500,000 in fines coming for Jamar Chase with that paycheck. And also, he won't be available next week in their game. He's going to appeal. There's no way that appeal is going to change anything in my mind, Joe.
No, it's not. And I mean, he went from, denying it completely after the game to now all of a sudden he's got no comment, and his coach is coming out and telling everyone it's just inexcusable. It can't happen. And it just cost your team, cost you $500,000. And now, of course, you're not going to be available for a game against the Patriots coming up. And I don't know, is Joe Burrow going to be available soon? Is he not? It's just a bad look for a bad organization.
Like if Chase, if you didn't like what he was saying, you were actually better off punching him on the field. Yes, they would have thrown you out of the game, but it's like, hey, we had words and we got angry and we tangled with each other. The interesting part's Jalen Ramsey, because he is going to get a FedEx envelope to his locker that's going to be for a huge fine for getting ejected, when he probably shouldn't be at this point, because, you can't throw that punch. Easier said than done. Hey, man, I was minding my own business. Got punched in the face. Did you punch back? Yeah. Oh, you shouldn't have done that. Like, that's just a response that Jalen Ramsey now, if you're the NFL, you don't want to publicize it, but just rescind that fine.
Yeah, right. I got to tell you, Donnie, I am sure over the last 48 hours, he is wishing things have gone a little bit different in that spot there.
Yeah.
Stick to the trash talking and everything will be just fine. Kind of crazy.
Victor Wembanyama, he's down with an injury, a calf injury. Never like to see that, because those can flare up. And also, anytime we talk calf injuries now, you come back too soon, that turns into an Achilles injury, and that's not something that you want. Wembanyama, they are going to be cautious with this injury.
Yeah, and they should be. But the good news is, I mean, they got plenty of depth here on this team. I mean, and having De'Aaron Fox back now is going to be great. I think they'll be able to hold their own, no problem. Hopefully, it's not forever in order to get this thing back in, but they're figuring at least 10 games. So a couple of weeks at the very least right now. And let's hope that's all it's going to be.
Giannis Antetokounmpo here. He exited with a groin injury. MRI set for today. Anytime you hear MRI set, Joe, it's usually never good news.
No, it's even worse news for Doc Rivers and the Milwaukee Bucks here because, here's this guy's averaging 30 plus a game, which is the only reason why you have the wins you have there. So, yeah, they're going to be a little shorthanded. They're going to have some issues moving forward here, and it doesn't sound good, Donnie. It sounds like they're expecting him to be out for an extended period of time.
James Franklin moves on from Penn State to Virginia Tech. I think it's a pretty good move. The only thing I don't want to see here, Joe, we're going to have the Enter Sandman where you come into the stadium, and it's fun when Virginia Tech is good, but is James Franklin going to make sure they lock hands and he runs out with them during Enter Sandman? Please, that's the stuff that drives me wild here. James Franklin, come out when the team already is on the field, please. Can he just do that for me?
Yes, I agree. But listen, I think it's good for him, man. It didn't work out at Penn State, but you still got a giant bag of cash. You're going to get even a bigger bag of cash to go to a program that has no such aspirations like the one you just left. He'll be given all the time in the world, Donnie, to be able to rebuild that program, and he will rebuild that program.
Yeah. I think it's a great hire for them. I do. That's a guy that could probably stand there next. Like, where is he? Look, is he going to rebuild Virginia Tech and then say, oh, you know what I can't wait to do? The Alabama job is open. Let me take that. And like, oh, no, you want me to win a championship here?
Listen, Beamer made a career in Virginia Tech and had some of the greatest players come through. I think he could be there for quite a while.
Also, man arrested in connection with the murder of former head coach, I should say, John Beam there. Yep, tough times there on that one. We'll be right back after this quick break.
And the amazing thing you're going to say about Tom Izzo for the jump is, Tom Izzo don't duck anybody. You want to hear who they have to play preseason? Kentucky, Duke, UNC, and Arkansas. This is not the Jimmy Boeheim Don't Leave New York Carrier Dome Classic. This guy plays people.
College basketball today, only on SportsGrid.
Another sport like the NBA, which is dealing with its own, scandals, so to speak, and its own headlines with the FBI and what else comes, because this is the same FBI team that also brought the NBA scandals to light. So I'd have to imagine they're working on some other stuff as well right now, and the timing is definitely not a coincidence, but definitely some very significant news in the gambling world that now you're not going to be able to bet more than $200 on a specific pitch market.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
Where are the wins coming from? And yes, I agree. Are they good enough to win those games? Yeah, of course they are, right? But the reality of this team is not very good this year in one-score games. They're not. That was their bread and butter a year ago. Like every win last year, one-score game, the Chiefs found a way to win it.
The Craig Carden Show, only on SportsGrid.
You need Justin Jefferson on that wall in the playoffs. Like, you got to go get him. He is still the man. I understand the JJ week last. I get it. It was ugly. There were a lot of spots where, where's he throwing that ball to? What's he doing? It'll be fine. Justin Jefferson's far too talented, and McCarthy will continue to figure it out. But it's the target volume you want. He gets double-digit targets every week. He is arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL.
Fantasy sports today, only on SportsGrid.
College football starting to wind down, but things certainly heating up in the race here with the college football rankings and making it into the playoffs here. There is no surprise there with the top two. They've been that way all season long. It feels like Ohio State and Indiana, 1 and 2 in the Big Ten, followed by A&M, who squeaked out a victory against South Carolina this past weekend to improve to 10-0, followed by Georgia and Ole Miss, Oregon, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Notre Dame, and Alabama rounding out the top 10 here, Joe. Things are going to change. These teams are going to play each other, but it looks like the Blue Bloods are here to stay.
Oh, they are, Donnie, but, we love chaos, and the next couple of weeks provide us the opportunity for total chaos. And wouldn't it be something if it eventually comes down to both Notre Dame and the University of Miami with the same record, only Miami having beat Notre Dame, and yet Notre Dame will get in and Miami won't. Interesting.
But wait, though. Notre Dame is a conference champion, and they're ranked high. Oh, wait a second.
Yeah.
They don't even play in a conference here. Oh, okay. That could be interesting here down the stretch as we play it out. Now, let's get to the best story of the day here. Understand this. Most times when you hear about a coach leveling up, it's like, let me go from, I don't know, power or group of 5 team into the SEC, into the ACC, into the Pac-12. Wow, that stinks. Guy left before the bowl game to take a better job here. That's normal. That's usually what happens. How about an SEC team that's in the top 5? They have a coach right now that's getting talked to by 2 other SEC teams that are not in any race whatsoever, and he's entertaining those thoughts. And how about a university that goes, I don't understand. You better make a decision before the Egg Bowl if you want to coach us or not. Then you now know that his family is possibly on private charters checking out Baton Rouge to see if they like it while Lane Kiffin is trying to prepare for another football game here. You can't make this up. This is the SEC in a nutshell. This is a story that they should talk about and say, like, that never happened. That doesn't even make sense. Oh, no? It's happening, Joe, right now.
So my question is, though, so what happens if he doesn't declare anything by the Egg Bowl? Okay, now what? Are you going to fire him heading into the playoffs? Like, what are you? I mean, that cracks me up, Donnie, because you have literally zero leverage over this man right now. Like, he controls it all, and you're giving him ultimatums. And okay, right. So if he doesn't give you an answer, I guess that's it. You can't coach in the postseason. Hysterical.
The thing about this that really drives me nuts is, like, he is in the SEC, but he also understands, and so does the public. Like, outside of being an Ole Miss fan, like, LSU is an exponentially better job, more resources, bigger fan base, more money. And the same thing with the Florida Gators. It's got to hurt. Like, hey, Lane, like, we brought you in as a head coach, and we think we can win national championships here. You're top 5. You're going to make the college football playoff. And he's like, you know what? Even if I take a job, let's just say he takes the Florida job or the LSU job, and of course, Ole Miss makes the playoff and he's not there. Like, that would be such an unbelievable story. Like, I coached my whole life to get into a playoff and win a championship, which my team is good. We're in the championship, but I'm just not going to coach there. That's a wild scenario.
It is. But, the guy is 54-19 at 6 seasons at Ole Miss. He's got 4 double-digit win seasons in the past 5 years.
Yeah.
They've never seen that at Ole Miss. But even more importantly, Donnie, 14 seasons, Tennessee, USC. Don't forget, Ole Miss, he was also at FAU here. He went 115-53 in 14 years. He is the number 1 coaching candidate for any blue blood program. I wouldn't be shocked if it's Florida he's going to, because he recruited very well for FAU. He knows the state. A lot of talent here for him to be able to tap back into, and they'll give him the keys to the franchise, no problem.
I love this, too, because don't you remember, like, he left Rocky Top high and dry. He's never welcome back in the SEC. Now they were fighting tooth and nail to make this guy the head coach of their team after, again, going back to the SEC and probably leaving another school high and dry. At the highest levels, it's just about winning, and it's just about money. That's why they would bring this guy back into the family here in the SEC. It's wild. Maybe it does just mean more in the SEC. Let's keep rolling along here and talking about some other topics, which include the national championship odds. Simple here, right? It's Ohio State and it's Indiana. The only thing that's going to change in those odds are when those two teams play each other, where Ohio State gets even better number, like plus 175 or plus 150, or Indiana, if they beat them in the Big Ten championship game, that number decreases and Ohio State's goes higher, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Ohio State, it is chalky, but it's real. They have a real opportunity to run the tables once again. They've got, and they're doing it with a whole lot of new faces and a lot of new people, including the coaching staff. Chip Kelly is now, letting Geno Smith get killed. So he's not there anymore. And we know that, Matt Patricia is the new defensive coordinator there, and they have just been rolling teams. So It's going to be, they are the favorite for a reason, and they are, if they're as every bit as good as we think they are, Donnie, then yeah, maybe now's the time to grab that number because it might not get any better.
We talk about like non-correlated lines in this one. I mean, Ohio State's the favorite to win the national championship, but Fernando Mendoza is the favorite to win the Heisman, just behind saying. There's no way if Ohio State rocks Indiana, and I mean rock them, beat them by 10 points here, that you're going to give the Heisman Trophy to Mendoza over saying at that point. It feels like it goes hand in hand right now. So you ask me, I'd rather take the higher number here and say, you know what, give me saying at plus 200 than Ohio State at plus 185. I'm telling you right now, that's going to happen in the national championship odds picture. Make it make sense? Well, sometimes it doesn't a little bit here. You got Maction tonight, Joe. Akron, Bowling Green, UMass, Ohio, Western Michigan, NIU tonight. Any one of these games pique your interest?
Oh, yeah, you got some, quality games here tonight. But we talked about that UMass Ohio game, Donnie. We wanted to see how high that line would go, right? They are single-handedly might go down, and this is saying something, as the worst-rated college football team in the history since we started power rating college football teams. They might go down as the single worst of all time. I don't know that number's high enough. It's 33.5. We are starting to see a little bit of buyback here tonight, but Akron, maybe the team total under for UMass might be the best look here.
Like, I don't even have to handicap this team in UMass being 0-10. I just go to their schedule and look at one football game. They lost to Kent State 42-6. 42-6. That should tell you all you need to know about our guys at UMass. Bring back Mark Whipple. Bring back the days of a good offense out there. What happened, UMass? The Minutemen. Terrible. Kalshi Markets next. Let's get to it and have some fun.
Let's play our game of buy or sell. It has been a season to remember for Drake May. As of right now, May and Matthew Stafford are the favorites to win the NFL's MVP. Who had that at the beginning of the year? You probably could go through 20 quarterbacks before you got to Drake May as predicting winning the MVP. After this season, buy or sell, we will think of Drake May as the best quarterback in the 2024 draft class. Is this buy or sell? He certainly wasn't going in.
All right, for those who don't know, we're talking May, Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, Bo Nix. A lot of interest there, right? A lot of interest there as far as those QBs. He's going to be the best. I mean, this is a question I would normally just take the field, right? Because I'll assume that Jaden Daniels has been really good. While he's hurt now. Caleb Williams, he's getting better and better. I'm still not giving up hope on the other three here as far as Penix, McCarthy, and Nix, although I would certainly have May well above them. So I think for me, it's either Daniels, it's either Williams, it's either May. Isn't this recency bias? Last year we would have, it's Daniels. By far, it's Daniels. Now because he's hurt, hasn't had a good year, it's Drake May. I'll sell this just for the sake of it, Craig, here, but I don't necessarily disagree.
Yeah, I'm going to sell. I got Jaden Daniels still. I can't go this far with Drake May. Maybe second best, but it's not even about taking the field. We're having recency bias here. Jaden Daniels, to me, will still be awesome. So next year for Daniels goes back ahead of Drake May.
Fantasy Sports Today, Friday starting at 3 p.m. only on SportsGrid.
We love talking about some of those Kalshi markets and the hottest topics that you can actually wager on, like the stock market here. You're not going to go over to FanDuel or DraftKings and be like, hey, how can I make some money on who the next coach of the New York Giants football team is? But the Kalshi market, you can actually do that. And you can rise like the tides here. If your position gets better, you can sell or even if your position gets lower, you're like, I got to cut my bait and get out of this. You can do that as well. But when you go to Kalshi, one of the questions they asked that we're going to answer today and see if we can make some money on is who's going to be the next permanent head coach of the New York Football Giants. We've asked this question before, but some of these is like Mike McCarthy is the favorite. Clint Kubiak is the favorite. Mike Kafka up there at the top. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Joe, I actually had somebody reach out to me yesterday and goes, hey, guys, when you were talking about this, how about Lane Kiffin pulls a stunt on the SEC and goes back to the NFL? That's a 5% chance here. Or should I say, looks like it comes, is it 5%? 5% yes. And 5 cents, you drop 100 down, that's $2,000 in your back pocket if Lane Kiffin is the head coach of the Giants, Joe.
Listen, nothing shocks me at this point because that crew of names that we have to bet on, Donnie, it doesn't move the needle for me. I don't know that it's going to move the needle with Giant fans either, although at least Kafka's got, he's got the remaining games of the season to impress. And I think a lot of this all depends on the relationship also with Jackson Dart and whether or not he can put him into a position to be able to get done. There's a lot we're learning about Dable, by the way. And there wasn't a lot they were on the same page with Kafka and Dable. And Dable apparently was the one that was responsible for putting him in harm's way. So I think it'll be interesting if he can get back in there. What kind of success does he have with Jackson Dart under center? That'll go a long way in helping us.
Yeah, it certainly will. And by the way, you look at some of these names, right? Like for me, Mike McCarthy should never be a head coach again. He's not a terrible head coach, but it's just one of those, wraparounds, been there, done that, went to Dallas. And yes, he got the offense going, but the team stunk. Like I would say if I was the Giants, like I would hire a head coach that's probably a defensive guy and hire Mike McCarthy then as my offensive coordinator. Like, what's Mike going to hold out for? Another head coaching job? Like, no, he would take that that offensive coordinator job in a second. I just can't believe, just an unsexy pick. And I know you don't need the rock star, young up-and-comer guy, but it can't be Mike McCarthy here for the New York Giants. I just don't think that's going to be a factor. But, Clint Kubiak, Kafka, just seems like run-of-the-mill, take it or leave it, not going to make any changes. 3 years, they'll be fired as well. Now, also, you have to understand the NFL as well as college football, high-stakes college football in the SEC. You are hired to be fired. Case in point, Billy Napier, which I never thought really got a fair chance at Florida because coming over, yes, you got to recruit, but my goodness, some of the schedules that the Florida Gators laid on his doorstep, man. It's like, what did you want me to do at this point? Well, he ends up getting fired. But the question now is, who will be the next permanent head coach of the Florida Gators football team? 46% chance right now here for Lane Kiffin. A $100 bet pays back $209 here. Jed Fish, Lincoln Riley behind him. It seems like it's just going to be a matter of who writes the bigger check, LSU or Florida, and a heavy favorite to be the head coach of Florida Gators is Lane Kiffin.
Yes, and he should be. And again, he's already been in Florida here when he was the head coach at FAU. So recruiting is a big part of what happens as a head coach, right? It's the bloodline, though. Can he get from other parts of the SEC and dominate Florida recruiting? If he can, Donnie, he will be Florida's next head coach, not Jed Fish.
You know what I like about the Kalshi markets, too, because we're going to flip it over to Major League Baseball. Who will be Tarek Skubal's next team? But, sometimes you look at, the juice that you lined up, or you look at it like the stock market. Like if somebody told you, hey, you know what? If you're going to invest some money today in November, I can guarantee you by March 26th, you would get a 50%, return on your money. You'd be like, damn, that's like Bernie Madoff stuff. Sign me up for that. Well, here's the question Kalshi has up. What will be Tarek Skubal's next team? Now, the way it reads, it's like, well, he's with Detroit, but he's probably going to leave eventually, and he'll probably be a Yankee or let's just say a Dodger. But also understand this. The rule summary on this, Joe, is if Tarek Skubal's next team is stays with Detroit or retires before March 25th, 2026, then the market resolves to yes. So 67% chance that he stays with Detroit. I don't think he's going anywhere. Number one, he's not going to retire. Number two, I don't think he gets traded before the season here. So I would look, $100 pays back $52 there for you if you pick he stays with Detroit before March 25th, 2026.
Donnie, I can't see him being traded here at all. I think he's going to be the anchor of that staff. They got some nice young arms, but again, they're a team that's going to have to spend some money like Seattle is figuring out if they're going to be competitive and surround him with talent to win a championship.
Now, this question would be a little bit more interesting if it was at the deadline they put the date, but it's not. He's not going to get moved here before the season starts. Let's talk NFL action this weekend coming up next. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I bet he couldn't get up to 40.
You know, you really, it was you that did it. I mean, this Rodriguez should have been the bell cow in the second half. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Like, if he scores, I'm good. You put this Krusky Merritt in.
I'm not.
It's like you bought something at the dollar store. That's this guy Krusky Merritt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Let's get a little Week 12 look ahead here in the NFL, and that starts early on Thursday night. Get the party started with the Buffalo Bills, who got the party started at home with a victory over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. A win and a cover here, which Josh Allen scored 6 times in this game. 3 by air, 3 on the ground. They take on the Houston Texans, which probably is going to be Davis Mills at quarterback. Sometimes in the NFL, you look at games, Joe, and you say, just don't outsmart yourself. But then we look back and go, well, yeah, the last time the Miami Dolphins, the last time that the Buffalo Bills were playing on the road, they got pounded by the Miami Dolphins. Now they're on the road against Houston, has a very good defense. It's a 5.5-point line and a total of 43.5. Would we be outsmarting ourselves if we thought about taking the Houston Texans or on a short work week with a good defense? And Texans did win the past 2 games that they have, whereas Buffalo hitting their stride at the right time. So many complications, but 8 out of every 10 tickets, Joe, they're telling you, we like Buffalo.
And there's no reason not to, based upon offenses alone, right, Donnie? I mean, the offenses, compare these two, big problem here for Houston. But defensively, Houston is heads and tails over this Buffalo team. So what is going to win? Short week, Donnie, we've talked about it. Usually these Thursday night games, home teams or pass in spots, especially if the home team is getting points. This is usually a good spot to take them. But without knowing if C.J. Stroud is going to be back, Davis Mills isn't exactly exuding confidence in the market here. But I do think if Stroud is announced cleared out of the concussion protocol, this line is going to go down here. I don't know if he's ruled out, if the line moves towards Buffalo. So I don't think there's any rush to bet Buffalo, but I would bet Houston sooner rather than later because I do think this line drops if Stroud goes.
Yeah, keep it on some of those guys that are banged up, injured for a Thursday night short work week. Some guys may be coming back. We'll find those practice reports out a little bit later in the week. I know they have like that unofficial one on a Monday where it's basically a walkthrough, but Tuesday and Wednesday, you'll get a better feel on who's actually going to be playing in those games here. I'll tell you where we know is going to be playing, the Colts and the Chiefs. Right now, the Chiefs on the outside looking into the playoffs, the Colts looking to secure the number 1 overall seed in the AFC. So how about this? A 5-5 Kansas City Chiefs team. Oh, they're favored. They actually opened up that look-ahead line before this Sunday's games as a 4.5-point favorite. It's dipping 3.5s and 3s at just about every outlet you'll find, and a 49.5. Kansas City is not the same team that they were last year. Kansas City didn't look all that good against Denver, but Denver's defense makes a lot of really good teams look like pedestrian on offense. The only problem I have, Joe, is I loved what I saw out of Daniel Jones for most of the season. Yes, his statistics were decent in the last game we saw him play. I think it was against the Atlanta Falcons overseas. But can Daniel Jones go into Kansas City and get a win in this game? Or is it, I just need Jonathan Taylor to be Jonathan Taylor and we'll be okay? This game's throwing me for a little bit of loop right now, and it's roughly a 50-50 split in ticket count.
Well, it's clear, Donnie, that the market still believes Kansas City is Kansas City. And the big question is, well, do they deserve it? I mean, the look-ahead spot here was 4.5. And now we've seen Indy money come in. I think Indy money is going to continue to come in. I think the hook will be gone by the time we get to kick off here. And it's a great question, but the Colts are coming off a bye week, right? Because they didn't look great in Berlin, but they've had a week to figure it out, get back on track. And if we're not buying Kansas City, the market is. But if we're not buying him, that means we have to believe Danny Dimes is taking that step with Shane Steichen. That's a big if here in this spot. I still think if this drops to 3, my bet would be on the Chiefs, Donnie.
And also, you take a look at the last 2 wins, right, for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Raiders, 31-0. You see what the Raiders are about. You also take a look at the Commanders, 28-7. We know what the Commanders are about. Then you played up to your competition or leveled up competition. You lost to the Buffalo Bills, and then you lost to the Denver Broncos. Now come the Colts to town. This is a huge game. And also, quickly on this question for you, Joe. I thought last week was that situation, coming off a bye, must-win situation. Denver not playing that great on offense. You had to win. Fourth quarter lead, and you lost. This is a different Indy team. Like, Indy has a very good defense, but Indy now with a refreshed, off of a bye Jonathan Taylor and a great offensive coordinator in Shane Steichen, who's the head coach that has an extra week to prepare for Spagnuolo's defense, who right now doesn't look like it has a lot of playmakers. That 3.5, if it stays there, looks pretty decent to me at this point. But again, it's just must-wins called Kansas City. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, bet it now. If you like the Colts, get the hook, because I don't think it's going to be there come kickoff. And if that's the case, I mean, I like Kansas City. I would take Kansas City at 3. But I wouldn't take them with the hook. I would lean towards the Colts here if they were getting more than a field goal, because ultimately it's probably what we're looking at in this one is a field goal game.
Eagles defense over the past 2 weeks, post-trade deadline, revamping the defensive line, sensational against Green Bay, sensational against Detroit. Both of those games were outdoor cold weather situations. This game we're going to talk about, the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys in the Dome at Jerry World. The line opened up, Joe, 3.5, still staying at 3.5. Total in this game, 51.5 is a little bit lower to 49.5 because you're worried a little bit about that Eagles offense. Does the Eagles offense have the opportunity, Joe, for you to open up being in a dome and playing a Dallas Cowboys defense, which isn't as good as Detroit and isn't as good as Green Bay? And also you look at Dallas's offense. Sometimes it is hit or miss, but the one thing we know is they will be aggressive and they have talent across the board. Good running back, good quarterback, good wide receivers here. Am I wrong to believe, and falling into the trap again, that I think the Eagles will open up their offense, which means we should get 50 points even if we know how good that Eagles defense is? Am I wrong?
Donnie, I don't know. I mean, here we are heading into week 12, and we're waiting for this switch to be flipped with Philadelphia, and I don't know that we get there. I just don't know that we get there. I mean, it is hard to repeat as world champions back-to-back years, and you're seeing that. And it's as good as they are defensively, you know, they did a really good job, but that was at home against Detroit. Let me ask you this, Donnie. What would the score have been had that game been in Detroit? Because ultimately, that's what you're looking at here with Dallas indoors, not at home, on the road. You know, there's going to be, can they expose that defense a little bit that Detroit couldn't do in Philadelphia? That's the big question here.
It is. Isn't it fun? Like, you figure, like, hey, after week 2, you know about a football team. But with the ebbs and flows in the NFL, feels like every week you never know about which football team you're getting. Like, yeah, the Eagles are really good, but the Eagles have issues on offense. Dallas's defense revamped a little bit. The Eagles' defense revamped. Like, you just pencil this in. Like, yeah, the Eagles are going to be in the 30s, and Dallas is going to chase them behind. I just got to see, like, how this week actually plays out, to see the vibes in Philadelphia. But there are good vibes in Dallas. That was a good performance against a bad team. And now you go home in a dome. We'll see what happens. We're asking the same questions this week, Joe, as we did last week. Wait a second. You're going to give the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 6.5 points here to go into Buffalo? Where do you sign up? Well, if you did sign up, you lost. Uh-oh. Tampa Bay now going to L.A. What's that line, Joe? 6.5 points, taking on the Los Angeles Rams in a total of 49.5. I get, again, early vibes here. We're in a dome. I'm thinking 50 points, Joe. Teams like the Blitz, teams got good pass rushes, 2 quarterbacks that can deliver here. Am I wrong about thinking about another total here going to the over?
Yeah, it's a tough spot here for Tampa, too. Who's got to, they just went to Orchard Park, got to fly home. Now they got to fly out west to take on the Rams. Seattle, kind of did everything they could to punt that game there with the turnovers. And listen, the Bucs can't afford to turn the ball over like that. But I'm with you. I could see 40 points apiece in this game coming up. Health is a big issue, though, still, especially on that offensive line for Tampa. So know exactly who is playing. But my goodness, it would be hard to sweat an under out in this game, Donnie.
Yeah, exactly. Like, maybe Godwin could come back. We don't know. He's been on the shelf for a little bit here. Maybe Bucky Irving starting to practice last week. He can come back. But there are weapons all over the field and 2 very aggressive defenses, which does lead to sacks and good pressure, but also leads to these quarterbacks making plays down the field. It should be a lot of fun to watch. But I like this good week coming up here in the NFL. And as we talk about, man, it just seems like some of those lines you look at, you scratch your head just a little bit. But we always like to say, Joe, just don't outsmart yourself when you're thinking about these games. Usually that first inclination that you have at the end of the week and you change, like, why didn't I stick with my initial thought process? Well, that's the NFL. We always love to second guess ourselves. Let's bring in our boy George Kurtz coming up next here and talk more NFL action on an early edition of the Early Line. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like, you just hit a heavy stock. Like, you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I bet he couldn't get up to 40.
You know, you really, it was you that did it. I mean, this Rodriguez should have been the bell cow in the second half. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Like, if he scores, I'm good. You put this Krusky Merritt in.
I'm not.
It's like you bought something at the dollar store. That's this guy Krusky Merritt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
TreVeyon Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and TreVeyon Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The early line on a Tuesday, we typically, turn that page from college football and NFL football from the week before to the new week here. We have a game on Thursday Night Football, which is going to be the Buffalo Bills and the Houston Texans. But before we get there, we got some analysis we need to go over. It's Donnie right side of show right here. We welcome in George Kurtz as he coined Victory Tuesday for his Dallas Cowboys. I saw Jerry smiling after Quinn and Williams sack. I saw Dak Prescott delivering dimes all over the place to George Pickens and CeeDee Lambs. Cowboy Nation, are they rising up, George?
Listen, Cowboys won. It's a game they had to win, a game they should have won, and they won it the way they had to win, right? They're 4-5-1. They're not making the playoffs. And let's be honest here. 4 wins come against the Jets, who have 2 wins. The Giants, who have 2 wins. The Raiders, who have 2 wins. And the Washington Commanders, who have 3 wins. So let's not go overboard here. They've got 4 wins against 4 teams that have a combined total of 9 wins here. Cowboys' next 3 games, Philadelphia, Kansas City, Detroit. Good luck.
Let me ask you a quick question on that, George, because this game coming up next week, it's funny how the last thing we see gets into our minds. The Eagles, yes, have struggled on offense the past 2 weeks against some 2 pretty good defenses in colder temperatures. The expectations is they should be able to bust out about the Cowboys, but the Cowboys look good coming out of that bye. We just went over the total in that game, high 40s, Eagles as a favorite. How do you lean early in the week with that game on 4 o'clock there, national game on Sunday?
National, right? The 4:30 game on Sunday afternoon in Dallas. Listen, the first game they played earlier this season, the 24-20 game, right? The Thursday night opening there where nobody scored in the second half after the rain there. Cowboys played pretty well. It's a game you could argue they should have won. Miles Sanders had the fumble there that took away points from the Cowboys. And CeeDee Lamb had several drops, right? That really could have changed that game. That being said, no one's going to debate that Philadelphia is the better team, right? They're not playing up to their capability, which, by the way, good for them because they're winning games without playing up to their full potential here, right? But you're still winning. That's fantastic because eventually they'll reach that. I think it's going to be a good game. I do. The difference is this is not the Philadelphia team of old. Yeah, the offense is not playing very well, but the defense is. All right, the defense is here. The question comes down to this. As you already sort of insinuated, the Cowboy defense last night looked good. Right? Quinnen Williams, Logan Wilson, Chevelle, the 3rd-round pick he played, Overshown. He finally showed up this season. They got their safeties back for this game. So it's a brand new defense from what we've seen all season. But let's throw out last night. That's Geno Smith, who's horrible, right? Chip Kelly has no idea what he's doing as our OC there. We'll see against a better team here. As a Cowboy fan, I'm really hoping this is not the week the Eagles figure it out. Because if the Cowboys can beat the Eagles, I don't think they will, all right? I like Philadelphia. But if the Cowboys can beat the Eagles, you're playing a Kansas City team on Thanksgiving, short week for them. They haven't playing all that well, And all right, Detroit the next Thursday night in Detroit. I can't give you a reason why the Cowboys might win that, but if they could possibly win 2 out of 3 games of the stretch, as a fan, the last 4 games of the season, Minnesota, Washington again, the Giants again. I forget who the other team is, but it's not a rough schedule there here. So there would be hope if they could possibly beat Philadelphia this week.
And they've always played the NFC East tough, so this will be interesting here. And they got a little extra motivation now with a new look defense. So I wouldn't stick a fork in them just yet, but I have no idea what to do on Thursday night here. The Bills on a short week as a favorite. That defense, I don't know. Can they even stop Davis Mills and Stroud or Stroud, depending on who's the quarterback? It feels like everything the Bills do from here on out is going to require them and Josh Allen to drop 40 points on teams. I just don't know how realistic it is, George.
Well, Josh Allen's going to have to take over games, right? They don't have much of a receiving core, whether Keon Coleman's suspended or not, or disciplined, or whatever they was going on there. We've known this for years, by the way, right? You had Diggs, you got rid of Diggs, we're going to get this guy. We drafted Coleman. It's not working out here. They wanted Waddle. They know what their problem is. They offered a number 1 to Miami to get Waddle at the deadline. Miami said, go kick rocks, right? So they know what the issue is here. But yeah, Allen has to play sort of like he did this past week where he had 6 touchdowns for them to win. I think they win the game Thursday. I do. I don't think Davis Mills is going to be able to put up that kind of offense because Houston's almost the same thing. They don't have a running game, right? So it's all about the passing game. I just don't think Mills is good enough. Now, the defense for Houston is good enough, right? I think they're not going to give up 40-plus points here, but I think they give up enough here for Buffalo to escape a Thursday night game with a win here. I don't think it's going to be Stroud, pretty much what I've been insinuating here. He's still in the concussion protocol as of yesterday. I don't see him clearing in 2 days to play Thursday. I think he'll play the week after here. So I think, once again, I think Buffalo is sort of catches a break here, but I think they win the game.
George, from Thursday night football to Tuesday night on the ice. A lot of teams in the tri-state area going to play tonight. That's the New Jersey Devils. That's the New York Islanders and the New York Rangers. If we focus first on the Devils, heading down to take on the Tampa Bay Lightning. They're a dog here in this. Give or take about plus 130. Excuse me, it looks like plus 140s now in the marketplace. A minus 170 favorite for Tampa. Any looks tonight between the Devils and the Tampa Bay Lightning?
The Devils, man. Jack Hughes just can't stay healthy. This is a joke. Every year. Usually it's his shoulder that pops out, right? He's got surgery. He's done.
Dinner.
Now he had some kind of, isn't it at dinner? I want to hear this, by the way. What the hell is going on at dinner? Where you need thumb surgery and you're gone for pretty much till next calendar year. Probably somewhere in January we'll see Jack. Hopefully he's back for the Olympics. Remember, that's in February here, what a lot of the NHL players are looking forward to here. Without Jack Hughes, they're a different team, and which makes sense. Jack Hughes is a top 10 player in the NHL. So I'm not going to bet Tampa Bay at minus 170. They're not going to be a parlay opportunity for me either. I'm getting plus 144 on the goal line. I could see a couple throwing out a quarter unit, half unit at it to go for that. Tampa's playing better of late. They're not playing up to their capabilities either here. I think it's going to be a lower scoring game here, so maybe you want to take the under, but you're sort of, it's 5.5, not 6.5. You are getting plus money there. So I lean towards the under and the goal line here for Tampa Bay.
Should be interesting to play it out as you take a look at here. The Islanders and the Rangers. Ranieri loves this. He loves talking little Islanders and Rangers along with it. Who do we have? Now, who's the better option for you tonight as I take a look at both of these teams being underdogs, the Rangers or the Islanders tonight, George?
Are the Rangers playing at home?
No.
Vegas.
No!
Vegas flew.
They're playing in Vegas here. Let's go with the Rangers here. Rangers are a different, for whatever reason, it makes no sense. They're a different team on the road. Give me the Rangers plus money against Vegas, who's not playing very well, by the way. Vegas has their own problems. And once again, Aiden Hill's still out there, so they'll go with the backup goaltender. Islanders are playing very well. Probably played their best game of the road trip against Colorado Sunday. Still lost here. Colorado is that good. That being said, once again, lower scoring game tonight. I do like the Dallas Stars to beat the Islanders.
There you go. We covered everything on the ice, got the advice we needed, and also talked a little NFL action. The Dallas Cowboys, they're back. Well, at least back for another week against the Philadelphia Eagles. George, thanks so much for joining us today on the Early Line of Rising and Grinding. We'll be back after this short break. It's almost like betting the stock market. The good part about it is you can take a bet today. In the 2 or 3 days, if you nail that bet, you can be able to cash out, Joe. Like you just hit a heavy stock. Like you go into Sun Microsystems or whatever it's called, and you buy into it. In 3 days, you can sell it for a massive profit. Do you understand these markets, Joe?
I do understand the markets. It's amazing how some of the predictive markets seem to have the answers before the test.
SportsGrid's College Football Today.
I bet he couldn't get up to 40.
You know, you really, it was you that did it. I mean, this Rodriguez should have been the bell cow in the second half. Couldn't even get a touchdown. Like, if he scores, I'm good. You put this Krusky Merritt in.
I'm not.
It's like you bought something at the dollar store. That's this guy, Krusky Merritt.
Pro Football Today, only on SportsGrid.
Travion Henderson and a few others have the Pats at 9-2. Is excellence back in New England, Joe?
Excellence is back in a big way. Mike Vrabel came back into town. Drake May has come out of his shell, and Travion Henderson has come out of, I don't know where he was. He was in obscurity, but he had 3 touchdowns on Thursday night.
Fantasy Sports Today, only on SportsGrid.
Let's take a look at a couple of narratives here and play a good game of fade or not fade. And first up, well, the idea that the Chiefs are going to put it all together and win the AFC West, well, that's absolutely gone. Absolute fade from this point on, Donnie, with the Chiefs. Their 10-year reign is over. It's done with.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
Fun show for a Tuesday, and sometimes it is a little bit later. Joe, I got my head beat in on prop bets on Sunday. Like, no matter what I touched here, whether it's bad beats, bad handicaps, or injuries, nothing went my way. Last night, though, fantastic. I had 2 touchdown scores in this game, Joe. Ferguson and also Pickens. Bang, bang. Like, love to see that. You get the work week started in style. And also, in this segment, we give out our buy bets, which is our best bets of the day. Yesterday, Javonte Williams for me. Bang it for Joe Ranieri Heat. Bang it. We're going to do that again. But before we get there, we like to hear from the public here. Here's our Fade the Public poll. Now, X has been down most of the morning, Joe. So where do I get these poll questions? Well, it's at SportsGrid on X, and some people were able to vote, included myself. But if you're looking right now, where do I find this at? You're going to find it anywhere with some of the issues that X is having. But the question that was asked, Joe, will Lane Kiffin leave Ole Miss? 3 questions that you could answer here. Yes, this season. Yes, next season. No, never. Well, we know never. I mean, I don't know about that. He's just going to stay at Ole Miss till he's 75 years old. But do you know who the favorite is, Joe? Since you can't see it right now, who did the public vote for? Who do you think? Was it yes this season, yes next season, or no, never? Who's the favorite for you?
I would say yes, next season will be the public favorite.
It's actually no, never. That's the last case scenario. I would have thought that the favorite would be yes this season, which means he's going to get over to LSU or Florida. Next season, which means, like, yeah, if he struggles a little bit, he's probably just going to leave himself. But no, never. Get out of here. How's that lead?
No, and you knew that can't possibly be the answer when they asked him, do you anticipate being the head coach next year? And he didn't give an answer at all. And then we find out his wife and his family are visiting, taking tours of Gainesville and Baton Rouge. Yeah, no, I would say, yeah, Ole Miss, thanks for the stop, thanks for the ride, but we're moving on.
By the way, if we put it in real life terms, what Lane Kiffin's doing right now, can you imagine being what you think is happily married and your partner comes home and is like, look, I'm going out on 3 dates tonight. I'm going to decide if I want to stay here or go with these new 3 dates. This is a wild scenario, but again, this is the SEC. That's how it gets down. But on a Tuesday, Joe, after a sweep last night in our buy bets, let's bring it on more for the people. Here's buy. After a win last night with the Miami Heat in the association, Joe, do you stay in the association or the world is your oyster? Where are you going?
All right, well, let's go to Maction football here tonight.
Whoa.
As we've got 2 teams, Donnie, that are going to slug it out on the defensive side of the ball, and that being Northern Illinois taking on Western Michigan. And listen, we've cashed a bunch of tickets with Western Michigan this year because defensively, one of the more underrated teams, not just in the MAC, but in the country. Only giving up 11.5 points per game in league play, Donnie. This is a big, and I mean a big and good defense for Western Michigan. In the meantime, Northern Illinois, yes, they dropped 45 points on UMass. They ain't doing that against this Western Michigan team. Not to mention, Northern Illinois runs the ball 65% of the time, Donnie, and they're not very good at it, but they run it a lot, which means that clock's going to go, but they are very good defensively. The total opened up 41.5. It's already been bet down to 38.5, and I agree with it. I still think it's going to be first one to 17 wins this game. I'm taking the under here tonight in Northern Illinois and Western Michigan.
Feels like blasphemy out there to take a under in a Maction game, but that's the new world that we live in. NIU used to be at the top of the table there, now at the bottom of the table over there in the MAC. And also, they won't be at the table any longer. They're actually going to be going. Is it Mountain West? Are they going to? Is that the where they think they're upgrading NIU in the Mountain West? It doesn't make any sense. The same thing the Big Ten has, USC, and the ACC has Cal. I mean, stop it. That's just the world we live in. But for me, Joe, I'm going to the association tonight. And I'm going to take an ugly underdog on the road in Tinseltown to take on the Lakers. It's the Utah Jazz. This line, Joe, opened up 12.5. This line still sits 12.5, which means it hasn't moved. 7 out of every 10 tickets coming in on those Lakers here. Hold your nose. We're coming in for a landing. I don't need the Jazz to win. I just need the Jazz to stay around double digits. Matter of fact, they can lose by double digits, and I can still cover. I'm taking them, Joe, plus 12.5. Might want to bet it, set it, and forget it, and just check in later.
I love it. And boy, oh boy, LeBron getting a little bit closer for that's going to help at all. Love this Utah team.
Wonderful be in the arena tonight. That'll do it for the show. Donnie right side and Joe Ranieri for the early line. Best part about it is, see you bright and early tomorrow. Good night. Hey, hey.